Hey girl, you are now tuned into the Allow Yourself Grace podcast, the space where we get real, we get raw, and give ourselves permission to rise anyway. I'm your host, Courtney Kristen, and I'm here to walk with you through the moments that demand change, the seasons that force us to pivot, and the experiences that invite us to shift. Not just our mindset, but our entire way of showing up in the world. This space is for anyone learning to release perfection, embrace the process, and find power in the pause. Because growth isn't always pretty, but it's always possible when you allow yourself grace. So take a deep breath, settle in, and let's get into the episode. Hey guys, welcome back to the Allow Yourself Grace podcast. I'm your host, Courtney Kristen. Thank you guys so much for being here with us today. I am really grateful that you're here. If you are tuning in on YouTube, yes, you noticed that my set looks a little different. Trying to change up the vibes a little bit today, and just you guys can let me know how you feel about it, if you like it, if you don't like it. I'm kind of liking it. But welcome, welcome, welcome. The conversation today is for the woman who feels tired, not because she's lazy, not because she lacks motivation, but because she's been forcing growth that was never meant to feel heavy. Because sometimes when we force things, they start to weigh us down. Some of us aren't, we aren't like exhausted from doing nothing. We're exhausted because we're trying to become something that we've never been. And we're putting ourselves on these timelines that don't quite honor our capacity, our healing, or even the season that we're in. Sometimes we have to learn how to honor the season that we're in. So today, I want to invite you to just slow down, take some time to breathe again, and to remember the truth. Growth doesn't need to be forced, it needs to be real, it needs to be authentic. So, whew, let's take a deep breath together before we go any further. Relax, get your listening ears on, get your journal out, and we're going to dive right into the episode. The pressure to become. Whew. We live in a world where things are constantly evolving, and the world constantly tells women to evolve faster. It wants us to rush. It wants us to do everything quickly. We're supposed to heal quicker. We're supposed to build bigger, achieve more, and to do it all without showing any emotion or taking a moment to just slow down. They want us to do all these things, and no one ever reminds us to just slow down and take our time. No, I'm not saying to stop moving, but I am saying to take time to slow down. There's an unspoken pressure to always be working on yourself, always be improving, always be fixing something, always upgrading. And while growth is beautiful, performance based growth will leave you drained, sis, every single time. Like, every single time. When you constantly feel behind, even when you're trying your best, that's usually a sign that pressure has replaced alignment. And being aligned is one of the greatest things that any woman can do for herself. There was a season in my life when I realized I wasn't growing. I realized that the things and the people and the places that I was surrounding myself around was all prohibiting me from growing. I mean, I felt led, okay? I felt led. I was growing because I felt like I needed to rush. I needed to rush. I wasn't growing. I was like rushing, 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 checking off stuff off my list, you know, and it just wasn't happening like I knew that it should. And once I became honest about that, everything shifted. Everything in my life started to shift. And once I became honest with myself, the shift happened quickly because growth comes from pressure, and pressure will always feel heavy. It will always feel heavy. Like I have this thing where I say I'm built for pressure. I'm built for pressure because pressure has been something that I've had to face my entire life. It's not anything new to me. And so, there's a number of people when they feel a little pressure, they bail out on the assignment. And so when you bail out on the assignment, then you miss out on the alignment. You miss out on it because when you are aligned, that growth feels different. It feels good, right? It feels calm. It feels peaceful. What grace led growth looks like, people ask that question. What does grace led growth look like? That's a question that I get all the time. What does that look like? How do you have the grace to lead? How does grace led growth, what does that mean? What does that look like? So, let's get into it. Grace led growth is just being calmer, being quieter. Like, even though I show up on my podcast platform, even though I show up on other platforms, even though you guys see me in a certain light, there's moments where I'm still and I'm quiet. Okay? It doesn't scream urgency or comparison. It doesn't. Being grace led, it doesn't do that. It doesn't do that. It looks like choosing alignment over rushing. When we're rushing, it's hard to really see clearly. And part of being aligned is you having clarity, and most importantly, you having peace. Peace over panic, trust over timelines. Trust yourself to get it done. We don't always have to be on a schedule. Like, some of us started our New Year's goals, our New Year's resolutions. We started in the month of January. We started and we hit the ground running. We felt like the first week that we were back to normalcy after the holidays, that we had to rush because we have to get started on our goals because we don't want to waste any time. But when you let grace lead your growth, when you let grace lead your growth, okay? It doesn't mean that you're always moving. It doesn't mean that you always have to be rushed. It doesn't mean that you always have to feel like I have to get something done by this date. It means that you're moving with intention. I was listening to someone that I follow on Instagram, and she mentioned that her word for the year was being intentional, and it just really, really confirmed for me what I was already thinking when I was going into the new year. Like, people were inviting me to vision board parties. They were, encouraging me to come and like, oh, you should buy a ticket. Oh, we should host a vision board party. All of the things, and something in my spirit would not sit right with the vision board party because this is something that I've done before. Like, I have like 2 or 3 vision boards in my closet from years past. And I'm not saying anything's wrong with creating a vision board, but what I am saying is that when you are creating your vision board, do it with intention. But the best thing that I heard that really solidified my reason for not creating a vision board was let God write the vision. That just kept dropping in my spirit. Let God write the vision. Pray for God to give you the vision. Don't just get magazines and pick out things that you think should be a part of your journey. You think that you want to do, or that you want cars, clothes, houses, finances, money, all the things that we put on our boards that we're trying to achieve within a year. Like, let's be realistic. We usually put like anywhere from 20 to, I'm going to say, 50 things on a vision board for 1 year. That's 12 months. We put that on our vision board, and we're supposed to get all 50 to, what did I say, 20 to 50 things done. And some of y'all put more than that. We're supposed to get all that done in 1 year. Come on, y'all. We have to be realistic. But most importantly, we have to be intentional. We have to be intentional about the things that we're trying to achieve, because let's be honest. If I put 100 things on my vision board, am I really going to have the time to achieve all of those things and do it well? Because I don't know about you, when I do something, I want to do it to the best of my ability. I want it to be great. I want it to look like God put his hand on it. And I want it to look like I let grace lead me to completing this certain thing. I want it to look like, oh, you did that. I don't want it to look like, oh, I rushed and put something together because I had a certain day I had to get this done by. And it doesn't matter because I just had to put it out there. I don't operate like that, because I believe that God doesn't operate like that. When God sits down and he thinks about Courtney Danae, I want him to be intentional. I don't want to have what somebody else has. I don't want to pray for the life that somebody else has. I want my life to be strategically and uniquely designed for me. So I want him to give me the things that I know he wants me to have. Okay? So instead of having a vision board this year, I've decided to let God write the vision and to let grace lead. I'm still becoming, you're still evolving, but you're doing it in a way that doesn't require you to abandon yourself. It doesn't require you to live a life that is not intentional, that's not yours, that looks like everybody else's. Okay? I'm not discouraging you from having a vision board, but what I am saying is make sure that you're intentional about the things that you have on it. Make sure that you've prayed over the things that you have on it, and make sure that what you have on it is realistic, and you have consulted with God about the things that you put on there. And I want you to hear this. I want you to hear this clearly. Just because your growth feels gentle doesn't mean that it's weak, because we have the tendency to think that because something is hard, it makes us strong. It makes it worth it. And I don't want to normalize that in my life. Like, I want to normalize peace. I want to normalize clarity. I want to normalize intentionality. And most importantly, I want to normalize being aligned with God, being aligned with the word, being aligned with the life that he wants for me, not the life that someone else has. Sometimes the strongest growth is the quietest. It's when you release guilt, you release control. All of those things go out the window. So let's talk about guilt for a moment, because guilt usually shows up the moment we slow down. The moment we slow down and we decide that, hey, I'm going to take a break and I'm going to go out and I'm going to just spend the day enjoying nature. I'm going to spend the day on my couch. I'm going to spend the day in the house. The moment we slow down, we feel guilty for resting. And we let other people make us feel guilty for resting, guilty for pausing, guilty for not doing more, guilty for saying I need a break. And a lot of that guilt is rooted in control. It's rooted in control because we try to control our outcomes. We try to control our timing. We try to control how things unfold. We don't want to relinquish control. We don't want to give certain things to God and leave them there. But control, it blocks peace. Having control and trying to control everything, it keeps you from being at peace. It keeps you from being clear. It blocks clarity. It blocks trust. When you're not sure and you're overthinking and you're trying to control everything, that tells God that you don't trust him, that you don't believe what he said in his word. But yet you say you do, but your actions don't align. Your actions don't align with the things that you say you believe about God. Surrender isn't giving up. Y'all know all 2025, my word was surrender, 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 surrender. That's the word that God kept dropping in my spirit. And through that process of me surrendering, I had to learn that giving it to him is not me giving up on it. Surrender is me releasing it and knowing that I don't need to manage everything. That's what God's for. I don't need to be in control of every single thing. And I am an alpha female, so I do like to control things, okay? I like to be in charge of my destiny. I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't, but I learned that giving it over to him shows God that, number one, I trust you with it, God. I know that you are going to do whatever it is you need to do to make sure that if it's for me, it's going to align with your will. This is something that I teach inside of my Grace to Grow course that is going to be launched soon. And if you're listening to this and I've announced the launch already, you will see the link in the description. And this is something that I really wanted to dive into. And so I really, really wanted not only myself, but other women to learn how to let go of pressure and trust that growth can still happen. It can still happen even when you feel like you're not worthy of it. It can still happen when you stop forcing it. It's going to happen, but you got to stop forcing it. You don't lose momentum when you surrender. Doesn't mean that, oh, I gave it to God now that I may not graduate this time. Like, because I gave this thing to God, and I mean, I don't know how I did on the test. Like, all of these things, it can be a number of things. I'm just using that as an example, but these are thoughts that the devil implants into our minds to make us feel like surrendering is the wrong decision, to make us feel like giving it to God means that it's going to slow us down because now we have to wait. God forbid we have to wait on his answer. And God is over here like, who do you think I am? I'm him. I'm the same God that I was yesterday, today, and I'm going to be the same God forever. And throughout your entire life, if you take a moment to reflect, has God ever left you? Has he ever forgotten about you? Of course, it's never going to be on our timing. It's not going to happen when we want it to happen. It's not. So let's go ahead and get that out the way. It's not happening. But I do believe that God is a God of suddenly, because it always happens when you least expect it. It can happen in 24 hours. It can happen in 3 hours because he's him. He has control. He can do the things that we can't even imagine in our mind. We can't even fathom. Like, we can envision all of these things for our lives, But when God do the thing, baby, he does the thing. He goes beyond our imagination. And so I want you to always keep that at the forefront of your mind. You were built for this. But also too, you always have God to go to and surrender to. And there's just some things that I'm like, hey, God, you see this? You got this. I don't got this no more. And I don't want you to feel like that is a moment of weakness, because that is a moment of celebration. When you can learn how to surrender the thing that you possess, that you know is valuable, when you can surrender that thing to God, the talent, the passion, the business, when you can surrender it to God and walk away from it, that's when you're aligned. That's how you know you're aligned. That's how you know that you're resting in the promises. That's how you know that you're at peace and you're gaining clarity. Okay? I want to take a moment to pause because I know that this year is a year that people set out to do new things, or they try to achieve things that they haven't achieved in the past that maybe they didn't get done last year. And a number of you have reached out to me saying, "Hey, how do you start? How do I start podcasting? How did you start? What are some things that you did? I mean, what type of equipment can I have? What are some tips that you can give me?" And so I wanted to do my episode a little different today so I can give you some practical things that you can use at home. But most importantly, I want to tell you about the mic that I'm using today. So the mic that I'm using today is it was provided and gifted to me by Mona. And so Mona is a um, company who they have a ton of different mics, but the mic that I have here is the PD200W, and it's a hybrid mic. Okay. And the key features to this mic is that it can be used three ways. You can use it with your phone. It can be broadcasted wireless, right? You can plug it to your phone. It also has a USB. If you want to use it with your computer, it is definitely compatible with that. And it is also stable for your camera, for your audio interfaces as well. So this mic is really, really easy to install. It's easy to hook up. It actually changes colors. It does a number of things. And it's a great way to start. It's also affordable. I'm going to have the link for this mic down in the description. And again, remember, this is a hybrid mic. So the wireless feature is the best feature that you can have, because you can go take it with you. Like, you can pack it up and take it with you and record if you're in a library or wherever you want to go and they have a quiet space for you to record. You can take it right with you. And you don't need all the cords. You don't need any of that. So it comes with the actual USB, and it gives you that studio quality sound audio that you're looking for. Don't that sound great? So I will have, again, the link for this product. If you're looking to start a podcast and you want to do it from home and you want to still get great audio, this is the mic, okay? This is the mic. So go ahead and check that out. The link will be in the description. Okay, let's get back to the episode. So there's a few things that I want to leave you with for this episode. So these are just practical ways that you can allow yourself grace. I started this podcast 8 seasons ago. I'm on season 9, and, the growth has been real. But there's some steps that I had to take to get here. Like, this didn't come overnight. This is something that, I've prayed about. I've altered things. I've changed things. I've, you know, had multiple things happen in my life, but I can say that I remained firm and I remained constant and consistent with showing up with my podcast. And the podcast and the Allow Yourself Grace brand itself is just expanding. It's becoming more than what I ever imagined. And that is just me surrendering this platform to God and me trusting that at the right time, He's going to make it happen. And this platform is going to reach the women that it's supposed to reach. So let's get practical for a little moment, okay? Here are a few ways to start allowing yourself grace in real life, guys, like things that you can actually use. Pause before making decisions instead of reacting. Instead of reacting, instead of snapping in the moment, like I personally had a real moment yesterday. I am a business owner, and so being a business owner is challenging sometimes. It's not easy. Like people look at all the glitz and glam of owning your own business, but it's really, really something that if you allow it to, it can take an emotional toll on you. Um, it's something that you have to make sure that you pray about and you make sure that God is in it because instead of reacting in certain situations, you know how to take it to Him, you know how to give it to Him. So I want you guys to learn how to just pause before you make any decisions, before you start reacting, because normally when things work out, it takes the tension off our bodies. It allows us to take a deep breath. So, number 2, check in with your capacity before you commit to something new. It's okay to say no, okay? Sometimes you have to say, look, I'm at capacity and I can't take that on right now. I'm at capacity and I'm not going to be able to make it tonight. I'm at capacity and your girl is tired. Like, sometimes being honest is just the best thing. Number 3, simplify where you can. So, where you can alter things, do that. Your schedule, your expectations, your responsibilities. If you can take some things off your plate, do that. If you can delegate, do that. If you can ask somebody else to do it, do that, sis. Do that, okay? Replace self-criticism with compassion. Number 4. Replace that with compassion. Talk to yourself the way you would want someone to talk to you. Okay? Someone that you love, right? How do you want them to speak to you? That's how you should speak to yourself. Um, we've normalized calling each other the B word in a lot of social settings and the N word in a lot of social settings. And if you're African American, you kind of know what I'm talking about. And some of you who are not use these words too. We've normalized those words, but I'm guilty. I've said them. I've said them in conversations. I've said them when talking to my friends, and now I'm more like cognitive of them because I'm like, man, do I want someone speaking to me that way? I don't think so. So I try not to do it to myself, and I try not to include it in conversations. That's still something that I'm working on because I don't know if I appreciate that at the place that I'm in my life right now. All right. Number 5, instead of doing something that feels forced, choose something that makes you feel aligned. Like maybe you have a love for working out, but there's just certain types of workouts that you don't like to do. So, for example, they have like all of these boot camp style workouts now. Maybe you just want to go for a run. Maybe you don't want to do all that. Maybe you don't like people yelling in your face or yelling at you. Just do something that makes you feel aligned. Like, don't not do workouts at all because you don't like a certain type of workout. Choose the one that makes you feel aligned. Maybe you like to go to Pilates or maybe you like to go to yoga, but just choose something that makes you feel good. Don't choose something because someone else says that you should. Make sure it makes you feel good. And lastly, remember this: grace doesn't mean doing nothing, okay? Because I don't want you to get lazy. Grace means doing what's sustainable. Don't get lazy. Don't stop doing anything, but do what's sustainable. Do what you can maintain. Like, don't take on more than you can manage. Whew, y'all, this episode was a good episode. I love when I do episodes by myself. I just do. I just do because I feel like I get to really just chat with you guys and really just pour my heart out to you guys, my thoughts, and share them with you. If you're listening to this and you feel overwhelmed, I want to speak directly to you. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are not late. Okay? I know you may think I'm old. I mean, I should have did this a long time ago, or oh my God, I can't believe I'm not done yet. Look, you are not missing anything that's meant for you. You are not missing anything that is meant for you. What's meant for you won't ever miss you. You're allowed to grow at your own pace. So let's say this together. Let's say this together. Let's say it slow. You are allowed to grow slowly. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to become without pressure. Without pressure, you are allowed to still evolve, okay, without feeling overwhelmed. If this conversation today resonated with you, this is the work that we're doing inside of Grace to Grow. So go ahead and head over to allowyourselfgrace.com. Go ahead and check out all of the new resources that I've added to the website. We are learning how to heal. We're learning how to reset. We're learning how to grow without pressure. So inside of the Grace Girl Collective, we have a number of resources for you. Okay? There's a number of resources for you to go check out, on-demand courses, ebooks, and I'm thinking of bringing the community back. I want you guys to be a little more active in the comments. I want you guys to be a little more interactive with me. But if you decide to make a commitment by resetting your life, by saying to yourself, I am going to surrender it all over to God, and I'm going to let Him write my vision and give me the vision so that I can put it into action. If you're ready for that, if you are ready for that, take action today. Surrender today. Don't wait. Do it today. Tomorrow's going to be too late. Do it today. Do it now. And if you're in a season where you need mental clarity and space to reset and to, most importantly, receive what was created for you to help you slow down and realign, then head over to allowyourselfgrace.com, girl. I got some stuff over there for you. This space on this platform will always be a reminder that you don't have to force healing. You don't have to force it. You don't have to force it. I'm going to remind you of that every single time. Okay? Be okay with becoming. You don't have to force either of those things. You're allowed to allow yourself grace. Okay? Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's episode. I hope that you gain something that you're able to apply to your life in this episode. And yeah, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I drop a new episode. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Well, guys, that concludes our episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Allow Yourself Grace podcast. For additional information about today's episode, please click the link in the show notes below. To learn more about our Grace Girls community and other resources we have to offer, head over to www.allowyourselfgrace.com. Until next time, Grace Girls, I love you all. Be blessed and continue to strive for success.